looking like Chris Evans and Jason Momoa sounds good in theory, but then what sort of bizarre Frankenstein monster would that look like if you just combined the two of them together? Like,
he's the world's best plastic surgeon.
No. Imagine Chris Evans with like a lion's mane and all tatted up.
That honestly sounds amazing.
So I mocked this up on one of those
does.
"What would my baby look like" websites, and I want to just turn that into my face, please.
Yeah.
My goal is at some point I can knock on Jason Momoa's door and just say "Dad," and for a split second he thinks maybe, just maybe.
Happy Father's Day, by the way, everyone.
All the dads out there who are dads, who have dads.
If you've heard of dads,
Yeah.
And to the people who don't have dads, like, kudos on saving money on cards and ties.
yeah.
Yeah. To all those people who get called daddy, even though, you're really not that old and you're a little uncomfortable with it, but you're just kind of going with the flow at this point.
Like, yeah.
Good on you too.
You can call me daddy because you'll never get to know me.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Psychic Dolphin Garage.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelton.
And I'm Zach.
I'm Bo.
And I'm Dennis.
And welcome to another episode of Psychic Dolphin Garage. This week we have Nick from Means TV with us here in the garage. How's it going, sir?
Going great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
It's always surprising to me when we manage to convince someone who's actually cool and does legitimately amazing work to come join our shitty little cum show. And man, thank you so much for this. I promise it's only uphill from here.
I can't wait.
Meaning it's going to get harder, not that
Right.
it's going to get better.
Oh, man.
How's everyone's week been?
A lot has happened this week.
I mean, yeah, look outside, dude. Shit sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Although one good thing is California now is requiring masks. So I'm glad about that.
Again or finally?
Again.
Meanwhile, here in the 16th century, we've wicked back and forth like 30 times on whether individual towns can even mandate masks, and now they can apparently. And
I know, I love
You know.
that. It's like there was a slight spike in California's numbers of COVID-19, and our governor was like, "Well, you all have to wear masks. Like, there's no exception." I don't know if there's a fine or not. I have to look into that. I heard there was, but I was like, "How are they going to do that?" In any case,
TABC in Texas is suspending liquor licenses for bars that have like videos or photos posted of them online, not sticking by the social distancing rules.
Oh, shit.
So that's something.
Oh, man, I knew those Thirsty Thursday posts were going to bring down my Applebee's one way or another.
Seems like most of that would just be like a bureaucratic mess. Like it seems like it's like, obviously no businesses should really be open that require people to sit shoulder to shoulder and, consume food or drinks. But
Yeah.
it's like the way that the government is responding is just by making so many things so much more difficult. It's like such a strange response to me because it is like this punitive neoliberalism that's like, you posted a picture and there's people in your bar, then we're going to shut down your bar. And it's like, okay, well, can you provide like rent relief for our workers maybe? Or can you do something else other than just like,
Right,
scold
exactly.
us,
more or less.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, of the many things that Newsom has done over here, none of them have been to actually relieve people. What I feel relieved about though is that like I think people are at least taking it seriously in my town, because today when I went to go do laundry at the laundromat, everyone was wearing a mask, and that hadn't been the case in the past. So I think at least that's good.
Yeah, I do enjoy how California seems to be the if you see something, say something kind of state.
Yeah.
The whole
Wow.
state of snitches is what y'all are becoming. I appreciate that.
Jesus.
Well, I mean,
It's
like
the-
again, like you said, it's not like Texas is any better. As always, we have to become like the anti-California reactionary conservative fucks that we are.
Yeah, no, don't get it wrong. Like, TABC suspending liquor licenses is literally the only thing that anyone is doing about COVID in the state. So Once again, even though we're the freest state, we, like Nick said, all we're doing is just getting ourselves into a massive bureaucratic mess because we insist that we have the freedom to get
to
ourselves
kill
into
ourselves and
bureaucratic.
others,
No preventative measures at all. Don't even know the phrase in Texas. I don't know what that means. Honestly, orange.
Well, the thing that we do know in Texas is that Juneteenth is a holiday, a national holiday that we have always celebrated and will always celebrate.
A national holiday in Texas. Hell yeah, that might be the most Texan thing you
That's
ever
super
said.
Texas way to say.
I don't know what y'all up there in the north is doing to celebrate. Christ, yeah. Juneteenth seems to have gone from this holiday that was kind of really put like on the back burner, like Flag Day or something, in that tier, and now everyone's jumping on the soulless bandwagon. Like every corporation is jumping full to be like, hey, if you like Juneteenth and social liberation, you might also enjoy our ice cream. Please buy it now. Buy, consume. And I think Snapchat really, kind of put a hat on
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, just when they were like, okay, we're going to do Juneteenth. What's that about? Well, they got told that slavery wasn't a thing anymore. Great. Okay, we're going to put everyone in chains, and you have to smile to break those chains.
Reason for the season.
I don't know if this is the case still, but they had previously done some very questionable things with like blackface, I believe.
Oh
yeah, it was like a Bob. It was a Bob Marley.
Bob Marley one. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I'm not trying to like give them too much of a bone, but these people are like Latvian. They don't understand like they were definitely given just like 2 sentences worth of like information about what Juneteenth is, and then had to translate it from English into Latvian or whatever it was.
Well,
and then
maybe you
figure
don't
it
have
out.
your Juneteenth Snapchat filter be made in a Russian sadness factory. That might just be step number 1, making sure that misinterpretations take place.
That certainly might be the very first step. Is like, hey, maybe don't like try to rush these things out by having programmers overworked and not given enough time. Also, just maybe don't do a Juneteenth like filter like that. Just maybe like a nice border.
But Dennis, how else are we supposed to let people know that the protests worked and that we're changing things so they don't need to burn down the Starbucks anymore?
How many conservatives do you think had a photo of them with a mask and them holding up the chains, just being like, "Damn you,
no.
Cuomo."
Oh no.
At 2, Cuomo.
Jesus.
That's some anti-Italian American sentiment there that you got there, Kelton.
Well, I mean, like we forced the Columbus statue to go into hiding here in Houston, so we're kind of on a roll here. What can I say?
Yeah, everyone else is tearing down their statues, and we were like, hey, we're gonna tear down that statue if y'all aren't real careful. They said, yeah, we'll put it in a museum. Don't worry. And they took it down. So
well, they moved it to a secure location that's not being disclosed. So I'm just picturing like the Indiana Jones scene where it's just a warehouse full of racist statues just from all across the land.
What's great to hear about like statues is that a couple of Junipero Serra statues have been torn down. One in San Francisco and one in Los Angeles. So I'm like really and also the one that's in Los Angeles is in Olvera Street. It is like the oldest it's the oldest street in LA. It's like one of the places where like LA started with its Mexican population. It all kind of outgrew from there. So it's very nice to see that this like very historical city is just getting rid, or part of the city is just getting rid of this, genocide, or like, person who committed a genocide. It's great. I'm so happy to see. And I think it was torn down by the some local native group. We have a couple in the area. I wasn't sure who it was though.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear
it's really good to see like Juneteenth stuff being circulated finally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really nice to see that even though Twitter will cover up photos and videos and the journalism organizations won't report on the Western Seaboard strikes.
Or, you
that
know,
they'll-
like their reporting will say that Tony Boswell says we need to work with cops and that police
Oh,
is the answer.
fuck
Oh,
that. That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, like at least we can still see we still have something on the newsfeed that's like good. In between, of course, the advertisements from Twitter that say, "Hey, we support Black Lives Matter."
There's nothing like more
Yeah.
soul wrenching than like playing Madden and getting a pop up that says like we support Black Lives Matter. By the way, here's like your bonus player card, and then it's just like Ryan Switzer from the fucking Steelers, just some like no name white guy receiver. You're like, oh, thank you so much. Just real.
That's
display of
who we were all
solidarity.
waiting for to show up. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to put this right alongside my Pat Tillman card. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Speaking of progress and riots working, we're finally getting brands also to redesign their logos. It means that the Washington Redskins are changing their.
Are they really?
It means they're changing their. Are they?
No.
No.
Are they?
No. It's just. It's
just yanking my chain
it's just
here?
food.
Nope.
You're yanking my
I am
Snapchat chain here.
You just got to
Oh,
learn to
no.
smile more, Bo.
Ugh.
We're going to take the Washington Redskins and put them into Area 1488.
Oh,
Oh,
No,
no.
no.
Oh, that's how much their parking prices are. Let's not get into that.
Aww.
Yeah, it really does seem to be a step certainly in the right direction, and it is fun to see old people losing their mind like they did with Land O'Lakes, for example. But
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the only culture they know. In all fairness, like this is, what if not brand identity? What identity do they have?
I do
Yeah,
love it though, because
but-
like you'll see like younger people making jokes about Aunt Jemima, for example. And then you see, like, it's only the old people complaining about cream of wheat, for example. Like, no one under 30 is being like, can't believe they are changing
has
goddamn
anyone-
cream of wheat. This is some fucking
I just want to
bullshit.
know, like, just a small poll of here. Who has eaten cream of wheat?
Like, ever or
Nope,
regularly?
Not I.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just like ever.
I'm sure
It's
ever.
good, it's
a
good.
baby food.
Yeah, no, it is delicious. I,
good.
I do
Hey,
like cream of wheat.
hey! No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I've eaten cream of wheat.
Okay, I was just
Try
wondering.
it.
I wanted to see
I like
like
wheat and I like cream, so I
That's
don't
not-
see why I wouldn't like that.
That's not
Enjoy
what
my
that is.
creamed wheat, Bo.
Yeah, it could use a rebrand. There's no doubt about it. And it could be
Uh-huh.
called like what is it?
Yeah.
It should just be like powdered wheat or something that's like not cream involved.
Yeah, but
You could absolutely do like a dumb, like Soylent kind of angle with it. I think
Oh,
make it like
God.
a food for like techies on the go that you're crunched so fucking hard with your 16-hour days that it's like, well, time to eat my wheat paste.
Oh God,
Yep,
I
pretty
do
much.
enjoy that take. Cream of wheat is just Soylent for boomers.
Yeah, it's wheat, WHET, and the E is the long E, so it has the little mark over it.
Oh
Ooh.
god, I can already see that sitting
And
on
like
the
a
fucking
really-
shelf. That sucks.
Yeah, and a really fucking like an Atlantis font.
You mean like papyrus? Like
I'm saying
I
like,
was thinking
specifically,
some slick like Cliff Bar kind of bullshit, but you just described
Oh, okay.
something that is like made and sold exclusively in Sedona, Arizona, and I love
yeah,
that.
I was gonna say you could like pick up your crystals with it too.
Uh,
No, so along with the was Cream of Wheat changing their mascot? That like guy in a chef hat.
I believe
Yes.
his name was Rufus.
That's-
Yeah,
He has
yeah.
a name, Dennis.
He
I
did.
I wasn't
he did
aware
until
of this.
1925, and then they changed it because they were like, no, he's just a logo now. Let's not worry about that.
right. I mean,
Let's not worry about the
it's-
cream of wheat lore.
in like typical liberal fashion though, this was just a wonderful way to sort of like quell the angry masses that would happen. So instead of like just getting rid of the racist mascots, they were just kind of stripping away little bits of racism until they were just sort of like a suggestion of what racism is.
Yeah, like Mrs.
An
Buttersworth,
allusion to racism.
right? It's
And
like
a
no,
moose-boosh
she's
to your
not,
racism.
that stereotypical mammy format. She's like a kindly old grandmother.
Mhm.
Let's not look any further into this.
Mm-hmm.
A kindly,
Nice.
old, very politically neutral grandmother. Just take our words on this.
She has no opinions other than this pancake mix is delicious.
Mrs. Buttersworth has discovered QAnon. That's how I know she's actually like your grandma.
Well, yeah.
But
Oh, fuck.
as it turns out, the CNN article was saying that there is a brand of toothpaste that is still going around that's popular in Asia called Darlie, whose name was changed from a word that I'm not comfortable saying, so I'm not going to.
It's a type of Pokemon that is super effective against psychic types. E toothpaste.
Yeah, because Pokemon
yeah.
definitely doesn't have a history of racism with some of its characters.
No.
Ooh,
That's
no,
a
not
good
at all.
point.
No, but what I will
literal
say is,
blackface Pokemon. Yeah.
when-
Yeah, this brand in China is, I believe it's owned by Colgate Palmolive.
Yep,
yeah,
it
and
is.
when you translate the name like from the Chinese characters, it's black person's toothpaste. Or
And
like
it's like a picture of, it's supposed to be a picture of like, oh, a generic person
mhm.
in a top hat and tuxedo
that
with like a big white smile.
that doesn't scream minstrel show at all.
Well, I mean, if it's any like consolation, guys, like in previous versions, it was just a straight up minstrel show. So we can go back to those simpler times.
I'm good. We don't need to go there.
God,
Who
it
like
just
Jesus.
like it really just kind of makes me realize that maybe somewhere out there is a K-pop TikTok teen who's trolling one of the Trump rallies right now, but also still using this toothpaste.
no, they're American though, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, I see. Very true.
Yeah, the TikTok teens are American. It's the K-pop stands that are
hmm
presumably not American.
Right.
According to God, what was that tweet?
Oh,
Basically
God.
saying that.
Yeah.
Basically saying that. Yeah, this is an attack by North and South Korea. Of course, working in tandem to dismantle the United States.
I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah.
they got it right though. If anything was going to unite North and South Korea, it would be K-pop. So
It would be the United States just being a fucking shit pile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what interfered in the first place. So,
take mine.
really, we're just righting the wrongs that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of righting wrongs that we've done, Antifa is going to tear down the Alamo, and I really hope that nobody hears about it or brings a bunch of people to protect the Alamo,
Yeah.
to defend the Alamo even.
Wait, has this happened already?
It was a huge thing that our land commissioner got real into it. Maybe you guys might recognize his name. His name is George P. Bush.
Cool.
Who does that remind me of?
Yeah, I mean he's part of that famous political family, the Clintons. So
The Kennedys. Yeah.
yeah, he was saying that there's no way that Antifa is going to be coming out there in their buses and tearing down the Alamo.
I love the idea that like they're getting bussed. Like
I mean,
Antifa
even
doesn't.
they admit that public transportation is the best way to move massive groups of people.
Yeah, no, it's like a fucking high school football game where you bring all the Antifa super soldiers onto the field, and they run around a little while, and come away with a good amount of CTE, and that's the show.
I think they're estimating us, thinking that we're just going to come in there broad daylight, take the Alamo. No, you come in there at night under the cover of darkness. You come in from multiple angles, you surround it, right, and then you take it. But I do think,
exactly. You sneak in through the basement of the Alamo,
let's be
which I'm sure they're
realistic.
defending.
I do think we should actually take it. I understand that this story is a goof, kind of, but I think it would be sick if Antifa or just the left generally did seize the Alamo, just because it's a great headline.
Absolutely.
Like, communists have seized the Alamo. It's like the smallest building ever. It's like, just like
it's a
cabin.
glorified
Oh, it's like a
barn.
petting zoo. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
bizarre.
The mission that's standing in San Antonio today is not even like on the original site. It's a complete. It's just a complete like rebuild. Basically, I mean, I don't remember, but I don't think it was actually done by the Daughters of Confederacy. But basically, like an organization similar to that came in and rebuilt it as like
The Sons
a
of the
symbol of
Confederacy.
the sun. Yeah. So, and during the, of course, retaking of the Alamo,
Mhm.
we went after Stephen F. Austin. because he was sick. We just totally forgot that was actually a person and not a college. So we burned down the college while we were at it. But really, it's no loss to Texas culture.
Right. What would be a loss is if there actually wasn't a bike in the basement of the Alamo. That would be a loss to everyone's culture.
That would be heartbreaking. Yeah.
I have been to the Alamo once though. It's a tiny little boring building.
It really is. It's a glorified barn. Like
all the better for taking over. Yeah.
All the bad. Look, there's no reason that. Why do they want the Texas flag flying over that? Why not just like give it to the communists then? If it's such a fucking terrible barn, like.
Do you think that we could really confuse them? By the way, like if we did like a Texas version of a blue line flag, and then we take it over, and then we force the government to like try and physically assault and tear down the Alamo. The federal
I say
government?
cede it back to to Mexico. I think that'd be a good idea.
Ooh, look, if we're gonna do like a cosplay of the Bundy standoff, then
Continue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's no better place to do it than in the Alamo to show that that Texas is not only the craziest state and we have the most armed leftists, but also that like leftists are also against the government coming in and trying to take away our rights.
Right. Oh, I do have one funny story about the Alamo. It's kind of dumb. That the war that happened, the quote unquote war or the standoff that happened at the Alamo was like incredibly short. It was like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a family friend, because my family is from Texas. There's a family friend whose like great grandpa died. Like he was the first man to die at the Alamo. And so now every person in his family gets to go to like, any university in Texas for free.
Wow.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, so good for them.
Wait a second.
Fucking government handouts to minorities.
That doesn't even make sense.
Bullshit.
Well, it's because he was an American who died.
Allegedly.
Or
Where's
I should
the
say,
birth certificate on this man who died at the Alamo.
I should say he's a Texan who died, defending Texas.
Yeah, exactly. This foreign enemy of the United States.
All he was a wasp who refused to convert to Catholicism and then stole land from the Mexican government. A true patriot.
Yep.
That's like the only way to get free education in the United States is to just die in something insane like that, and then maybe your like great grandson can go to like University of Texas for 2 years for free.
Oh
yeah, you get all your general classes for free, but they stop there. It's like, no, fuck it, you're not getting a major out of this. We just wanted to sit you through music theory or something.
Yeah,
it's
gotta take history of rock and roll.
Path to wealth for some people. If you haven't considered dying for Texas, in a ridiculously stupid but simultaneously, heart-rending way, then you ought to do that today.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Here we consider it the more stupid your death is, the more Texan it is.
Can you imagine?
I'm
though,
gonna die
like you
refusing to wear a mask.
Yeah,
the first
exactly,
person to die at the Alamo who wasn't wearing a mask. The first person to catch COVID-19 at the Alamo and die. Texas hero.
God.
just now picturing like Davy Crockett, but he's just wearing the mask on top of his head while trying to defend everything. Jesus.
I put the coon skin on my head instead of on my face.
Oh no.
Mm.
I was trying to avoid that word, but I'm glad we did that.
I can bleep that in. Post.
I'm not sure bleeping it will make it better, Zach.
That's true.
You have burned this bridge, man.
Well, all right, the bit is over.
I'm sure the boop 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 mask. What the fuck did he say?
God.
Jesus.
Look,
Can't take the tech.
I don't know. I had one of those as a kid growing up, and I wore it a lot, and I thought it was really cool. Now I look back at those pictures and I'm like, it's a little problematic, but
If it's in the context-
Yeah, 5-year-old
Is
Zach is
wearing
canceled.
raccoon heads problematic? Or did raccoons get their name from like a racist thing or something?
No, it's just the
no, go ahead. Explain it, Zach, in detail, please.
It's entirely possible that a raccoon was already called a raccoon, and that the racism
Zach,
came
before you go any further,
afterwards.
take this shovel. Just keep fucking digging, man.
Mhm.
Yep.
I have a lot of questions, so we can spend some time on this.
Because they steal things and they go through trash, right, Zach? Anyway, keep just trying to lay things out here. I'm clarifying.
Oh Christ. But speaking of the university that we're definitely is that how I'm that's not how I'm gonna
Yeah, no, you've got it the other way around. It's actually incredibly unpatriotic in terms of being Texan to found an institute of higher knowledge. That's coward shit. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what the Alamo was about. It was about, refusing to, stick to strategy or any sort of higher knowledge or education, and going out and literally just dying behind the walls of a mission that there's no reason to defend. It was literally just like a symbolic act, but
it was just an example of dudes rocking. Okay.
Yeah. And the alternative is, of course, having liberal fake news colleges that teach us about fake things like racism and
history,
climate change.
Yeah.
We can't let all of these colleges get in the way of really educating people, man. It's brainwashing you with their liberal propaganda. But also, colleges do brainwash people with liberal propaganda, just not the type that the conservatives are talking about, unfortunately.
Right. Like, who wrote that? Oh, I can't find out who wrote this and who the hell this Peter Wood is. He has two names that are nicknames for a dick.
Nice.
Yeah, look at that. Good on you, Peter. But yeah, like, okay, so like I actually went to like a university that taught me radical thing. Like it's weird where it was a strange bastion of like Marxism, like all the conservatives were like fearing about. It's like, oh, okay, like so this is what it must have been like back in the 60s to go to university. But I've also been to like other colleges where it's like just really liberal bullshit.
I mean, yeah, like mine, like people act like, the whole meme is, oh yeah, college is where your good little kids are sent off to become slavering neo-Marxists or whatever. Meanwhile, like my college is kind of like, like not political at all.
No, yeah, mine but like all of my professors were like Marxists. They used to be teachers over at Berkeley. A lot of them were, at least. And they moved on over when Berkeley became total bullshit.
It's this article that we were referencing is posted in the Spectator. Is this is some sort of publication? I don't know.
I've never heard of this before. The headlines though are wonderful, like self-righteous vandals, the attempt to prettify history as ugly, and there's like there's like a fallen.
Would have been much more on the nose if it was called the Spectre of Communism.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, the article is titled "Defund Colleges, Not Cops. Police are not the root of our problems. Academia is." And wouldn't you know it, we just had a whole day yesterday talking about how bad Lenin is. So, half of left Twitter is really on board the academia is the problem train.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, except those people are not leftists. They're all fucking liberals. Like, like you can't call yourself like a socialist and be like not for Marx, or like you might arguably say something about Lenin, but really you can't though. You can't.
He's too handsome.
He is too big. He's far too handsome. But
that's why they embalmed him. They couldn't let such a thing decompose.
Yeah, but it's just a ridiculous argument. Like I can understand maybe not wanting to read Marx because it's boring, but at least have someone explain everything to you.
Buy the Cliff Notes version. I don't know.
Listen to the audiobook.
Don't listen to the audiobook.
You can listen to a podcast, and I don't recommend listening to a podcast. You can listen to an audiobook.
No, don't
listen to Marx Madness, read, and then like laugh and cry about Das Kapital, because that's honestly a great way to listen to it.
Yeah.
The article has some great it has some great sound bites. Defunding the police is a supposed cure for endemic racism and white supremacy, but America is not a racist country.
Gonna
that
need a
like in-
citation on that one, buddy.
Is that like in capital letters?
So by
No,
the way, the guy who's saying that we need to like get rid of colleges, he's the president of the National Association of Scholars, which seems
A little
suspect.
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't need to go to college. You can homeschool that shit.
Yeah, I love it. They
There
got
you
over $1 million in revenue. They have 10 people in their staff. So, I think being president when there's only 9 other people there seems a little
Not saying that council communism is not my favorite, form of communism, but yeah, I definitely can see the problems with, there being like this really rigid form of organization that they seem to have done.
just
I mean, I personally think that, like, what we do is we just abolish school entirely and just, set everybody up with a YouTube account and just, where the sidebar takes you, the sidebar takes you.
Oh God.
That's a way to build a healthy, functioning democracy, guys.
Yes. Certainly. It certainly can have zero consequences, and
And it certainly has not had any consequences because it's definitely not at all pretty much what we're fucking doing.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
As
know,
much as I think that the internet is a wonderful opportunity for human beings to learn things in new and exciting ways, and to have access, an unprecedented amount of access to information,
Pornography.
and pornography. I certainly do want to understand what people mean. When they say that so many Americans have been to colleges that marinate them in the brine of Howard Zinn-style Marxist polemics against America, feminist screeds against patriarchy, black victimization narratives, and the whole gamut of identitarian, teeth-gnashing nonsense.
well, there you go.
Because really, that sounds like such a reasonable position, and it does not terrify me that a lot of Americans actually believe this.
I just don't
yeah.
know from where. Like when? When did any of that happen?
Why is knowledge political now?
Well, like I said,
it's always been political, man.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah,
understand.
I mean, it always has been. But like I said, I went to a school where like people, like, my professors were Marxists. They were writing things, but like also my degree was in like gender studies, like
The most Marxist of degrees.
well, here's the most Marxist of degrees. My degree is actually in gender and ethnic studies and the concentration is gender and sexuality in minority communities. Like, it's unbelievably niche. So of course it's going to be filled with like anti-capitalism.
I thought you could only get that if you were a white guy.
Turns out they let me.
Damn.
This brown NB getting in there. They're like,
Wow.
sure, why not?
I was just gonna say, do any of you listen to Desert Oracle Radio?
I don't.
That rings a bell.
It's this like cool like 30-minute podcast with this guy who is in like the Mojave Desert, and he just does these like very slow like story podcast things. But he's like this anti-capitalist guy, always talking about how fucked everything is. And he was just talking about how goofy it is to see all these like liberals with like, I vote science, or like, I believe in science and stuff like that. Like in the same way that, they kind of identify with like I like identify as an educated person or knowledgeable. And it's like science, like, 50 years ago was saying that like certain races were incapable of the same things. Like science has always been this like bizarre political tool. And it's like, it's to think that we're somehow beyond that now, and that science isn't still, science currently is
Politicized.
right.
Yeah.
It's spraying chemicals, all over like people's fields, and it's giving us objects in our house that are off gassing toxic things. It's like, that's science. Like now, like
Yeah, just because
Yeah.
we're no longer getting ads that are like, well, these cigarettes are recommended by 9 out of 10 doctors, and the other doctor that didn't recommend them is known by the House On-American Activities community to be a communist. Like,
Yeah. Those doctors are now recommending that we get Echo Dots in every room in our house because they're so good for us.
well, Zach, have you heard of the Echo butt plug?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how to use this Echo, the subwoofer that fits in the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
But
There you
connected
go.
to the butt plug somehow. I'll let you know once I figure that out. Yeah, I mean it's the question really is not, how did we get here, because it doesn't fucking matter how we got here. We're here now.
We're still here. We have not gone from a previous place. Like, it's just the same. It's the same bullshit.
I
Yeah.
think we can all
Yeah.
agree, like we're here and we need to be taken with some degree of seriousness. You will not replace us, right?
Oh my
should all
God,
start-
shut up.
Shut the
Wow.
fuck up.
Sorry.
Wow. There are marches happening, in every major city that we're not allowed to see online because it's super inconvenient that we see that stuff.
There was no coverage of all the Juneteenth barbecues that were happening.
Yeah, there's no coverage of the West Coast strikes, the largest labor strike. This year at least. I'm actually gonna walk that back. I don't know if it's the largest. It was a massive labor strike. It shut down 29.
I'm glad you're walking back
major
this
ports.
and not like any other thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
well,
way to put a
everything else I've ever said,
blank
I
skin
stand
hat
by.
about that, Zach.
yep. We're not seeing that stuff, and the only way to fight that is to educate people and educate them in ways and with knowledge that is radicalizing. And the only way to do that is to kind of you have to bypass a lot of the institutions that exist that should be doing that that have failed to do so.
This podcast is not one of those institutions, by the way.
This is not one of those.
Listening to this actively makes you dumber, dear listener. And we're sorry for that, but everybody has their vices.
Yeah, we're sorry that we brought Nick onto this as well for that. Like, it's just himbification. You listen to this, and you will your IQ will go down and your pecs will grow. That's basically
There you go. That's all you need.
Yeah. That's himbification for you.
Yeah. So it's yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you're paying money to colleges to get a piece of paper that might get you a job. Probably won't get you a job because there are no jobs anymore.
Everybody loves a good class filter, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's a great note. That's a great note. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent
everybody
thing to
loves a
end
good class filter.
Also, someone please hire me.
Yeah, dear God, this is my resume. This is my fucking.
God damn it!
this
That ginger
podcast.
studies factory didn't open up like we were all hoping for.
It's not a. It's in America. We're so racist that we call it the Aryan Press.
Ooh, no, nope.
Okay.
Why do you two are on a roll?
I'm sorry. I apologize, Nick.
Silence.
You're all on
Yeah, I'm not getting in there.
you all are like on.
See, I enjoy this because normally I am the incredibly problematic one, and Zach has decided to wade into those waters with me for this. So I
Zach's
appreciate
on,
it.
Just
like-
wading balls deep into the piranha pit. Yeah, great.
Zach's on like 3 hours of sleep and like 3 hours of sleep and a Diet Dr. Pepper.
That's the life,
yeah,
man.
pretty much. That's that's where we're at. If you've listened to all of the current events, then you're a true comrade. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for sticking around with us. We would like to shout out all of our patrons, especially Scott for contributing to our dialectical tier, and Spencer, David, and Adelaide for contributing to our Devil's Advocate tier. Y'all keep the show plugging along. Let us know how much you liked our latest patron exclusive episode. And if you want to become a patron, you can get on there and listen to those episodes for just $1 a month.
I mean,
so,
you can spend more money on us, of course, but probably better to use that on the bail relief projects of some kind.
Yeah.
Right?
No. What you got to do is cut me, an idiot who sits here in a chair in front of a microphone, $50 weekly to no avail.
Well,
you won't get anything in return.
You might give just as much money as some actual bail fund projects, Bo. So congratulations to you on that, please.
Yikes. Our plugs for the week. I guess watch our stream on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
That's at 8 p.m. Central.
We're wrapping up. We're close to wrapping up State and Revolution on Tuesdays, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, speaking of Lenin,
Yes, so controversial of y'all to be reading Lenin, because that's apparently the dividing line in the sand for so many quote unquote leftists.
I know we've been getting we've now gotten trolls, like both liberal and conservative trolls. Like I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, we get both the Nazis that come in and are like, haha, die commies, and also
The Nazi sympathizers.
Nazi sympathizers. And then, just people that come in and they just say tanky in chat, and that's all.
wow, that's powerful. That's cutting criticism there.
Lenin is posting from 100 years ago. Okay.
Power posting. Have to respect it. So.
Christ. And what else do you guys have? Kelton, you have some projects.
Let's see. Sports Radio 1917 is going to be happening on Thursdays. Really doubling down on the live show format, since fantasy sports, man, when there aren't sports, can't really give fantasy advice. So we're getting real weird into rugby stories. It's
yet again, fantasy role playing games triumph over fantasy sports.
Truly,
it is the age of the nerd.
Yep. I mean that's pretty much all I have really going on right now. But more importantly, Nick, what's going on in your world? Because y'all are always doing super cool, amazing things.
Yeah, so Means TV, we're a post-capitalist, worker-owned streaming service. You can find us at means.tv. You can also find us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all those places. The next few weeks, we're coming out with basically a new movie every week that we're really excited about. We have movies about the inner workings of French co-ops, struggling with the pressures of capitalism. We have films coming out about Chinese immigrant students to America being sucked into weird cultish Christian, universes in the South. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff we're coming out with just on a film level. And then, in the next few weeks here, we're going to be releasing Street Fight TV, which will be their weekly television show.
Dope.
We have Means Morning News every week, which is an original post-capitalist news and analysis show with Sam Sachs and Sam Knight from District Sentinel Radio. So check us out, means.tv. We have lots of good stuff for people all across the left spectrum.
Yeah.
I've actually been really enjoying the morning show. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Well, I'm so glad. Great, because I stay up all Wednesday night to make it. Now that we can't do it live in studio because of COVID, we have to do pre-tape it the day before, and so that's just me staying up all night editing it.
A hell of a turnaround, yeah.
Poor thing.
Oh my
Jesus.
gosh. Yeah, so I mean, that's something specific to COVID. What else have you guys run into not having like as much engagement online now? I assume you guys hit that as well, or is that just us?
I think that there's a sort of mixed bag with some of that. I think that there's like people have less money to spend, understandably, and I think there's some of that, but because we're a streaming service, like we've seen our numbers go up because people are staying at home more, working from home, and they have more time to watch stuff. So it hasn't hurt us in that way. It's definitely affected some of our new productions. Like we've had to put holds or halts on certain things. Like we were developing like a show that was based around going to restaurants, for example. So that's not going to happen for a while. So things like that. But we've really been adjusting, I think, pretty well. And what's been interesting is the fact that like every other major network show, like Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, the other Jimmy, like they're
all
all
the Jimmys we know and love, yeah.
all the late night Jimmys. They're all recording from like their homes and stuff, and like it looks like shit, and like it's not very funny. And so suddenly, like the stuff that we're doing, I think is higher quality and better and more interesting than even some of those programs. So.
I mean, it was before too.
Yeah, but you're almost used to this, like you're used to this like almost guerrilla way of like filming things, because you aren't Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon.
because you're not hacks like those guys.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel realized that he couldn't fit the studio camera in his front door to record the video live, and by the time he realized that, all of the webcams were sold out on Amazon. So.
There you go.
That's literally what it looks like. I don't know why the fuck it looks so bad.
Yeah,
like it's just like a laptop webcam? Is that what it is?
It all looks like it's laptop webcams, and their audio is like not synced. It's like it's stressful to watch.
Yeah, see,
I
we
don't-
figured all that out. We figured that out months ago. So that's where
Yeah.
it's like we're watching the economy just tank. Everybody have to be isolated, and it's like a Batman Bane. Like we're made for this. Like
Really
we're
adopted
fine.
to COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
I was born in it.
Yeah. What is it like to, I mean, what is it like, first of all, to, be in the same room as some of the amazing creators y'all have? I'm completely jealous. What is it like to kind of have this amazing worker-owned platform in the middle of the biggest capitalist crisis our generation has experienced?
In the last, 15 years at least.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's been feeling like it's coming, and I think that we're glad that we were able to kind of make this stuff happen as soon as we did, because it was really something that was like within 2 years we're up and running. So I'm just really thankful to like all the people who donated to support the project and like make it a reality, because that was crazy to us. So yeah, I mean, it's been a total shift. It's been like a learning experience. Like there's just a lot of elements to it. It's a very dynamic project to work on, I think, for everybody involved, because there's nobody like withholding like what's going on with the business. Like we're a co-op, so we have meetings where we talk about our profit and loss, and we talk about the issues that we're looking at in the long term or the short term. And so I don't think people, including myself, are used to that level of accountability and ownership over a project. And so it's been an adjustment working in a cooperative setting like that, to where like trying to like not put all the pressure and weight on myself, and then also sort of trying to help other people to work with taking on more, because most people want to. It's just none of us are used to working in a non-hierarchical workplace, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can imagine that's a weird sort of shift, because it's a complete cultural shift. That's not how we were taught how businesses were run.
Right. And it's like for some people, I am sort of the like boss role, and so I get told to fuck off a lot, which is fine and understandable. But it's like it's just like adjusting to that, because like a year ago I was not I wasn't working with anybody in that capacity. So it's been a total shift for me, but it's been really great. And it's truly just like riding on the success of this community of filmmakers and creators and people like Street Fight and people like the filmmakers we work with. So yeah, I'm just very thankful for all the wonderful people who believed in it.
Fuck yeah. I mean,
that's awesome.
what is any organization to that? It's people, right?
Yeah,
Really.
just a tax thing then.
Yeah, just a vehicle for Viacom to put out like, I don't know, fucking SpongeBob 500 or whatever season of The Simpsons we're on at this point.
Hey, that fail-son's got to have something to pad his resume with. Okay,
It's called the SpongeBob 500. Okay, it is a wonderful race down here in Texas.
Oh,
Okay, so
God.
see, I would
Zach is
watch
talking
that,
about
though.
race
Yeah.
again. Time to end the episode.
Mhm.
Oh man, yeah. I think that just about closes up this main episode. You'll have to check out our Patreon episode or the Friday bonus if you want to hear more of us. So Kelton, go ahead and take us out.
It's with a heavy heart and all the obligation in the world that I must say, to thine own self, please do.
Howdy, y'all. Don't forget to follow our link tree in the show notes to discover new things like our Discord, social media platforms, and all the places where you can listen to our podcast. Word of mouth is the best way to introduce us and other leftist creators to friends, family, coworkers, your AA buddies. Community is about more than hot takes online. And if you want to support our efforts, you can donate to us at patreon.com/psychicdolphingarage, which is spelled how it sounds. Hope to see you on the stream tonight. Enjoy this music by JJ Dean.
How the fuck I still got a full head of hair? Not a single gray. Fuck the cops, family first, every single day. Bringing a charm when I ring the alarm. My arms got a box cutter and sticky. We gotta abolish ICE, abolish it. No need to apologize, the Holocaust apologists. For no reason we colonized the land and put up monuments. Dope needles, dollar signs, the globe stands in astonishment. I hope there'll be a punishment. I really wanna get bloody. I really wanna stand in judgment of anybody taking money from anybody in the struggle. Anybody on a budget. Poor people getting 10 to 20 for some dumb shit. Corporations incorporating a bloodlet. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words, this coup will not be bloodless. Mark my fucking words.